Hello. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, sir. Am I
Good
audible?
morning. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir. We are so honored, thankful, and pleased that you've joined today's conference. We are just about to start as VC sir and Pro Vice Chancellor Madam. They all join. And sir, your much awaited keynote time is scheduled just after the inauguration. So
Thank you.
we would just want you to be there to witness the inaugural session, sir.
Sure. Thank you.
Very welcome, sir. Sir, just to let you know, we have received quite a good number of response
Mhm.
for this conference titled Negotiating Cultural Traditions, War Narratives, and the Post-Truth Condition. And wide varieties of papers we have received from all over the country. And we are sure that these 2-day deliberations will occur on a very, very animated form where there will be discussions and talks about the contemporary post-truth condition, the situations and everything. So once we inaugurate this, we've received around 70 papers from research scholars, from PG students all over the country. So I hope this conference will be a very stimulating one for all of us. And we are deeply grateful to you for having taken your precious time today to be with us and motivate the young scholars who want to get into their research, and some assistant and associate professors who have also joined our conference. So everybody will be very motivated with your keynote address.
I hope so, but
Sure.
let's see how it goes.
No, no, most definitely, sir. I'm sure we all are waiting to listen to you all.
Thank you so much. But
Thank
I just want to add a caveat that at some point I have to leave because I have a class
most,
and I'm at home now. So I have to go to
most
university,
certainly.
which is 30 minutes drive. So at one point in the discussion, you have to excuse me for my class this afternoon.
Surely, sir. As soon as sir arrives and the dignitaries arrive, and just with the lighting of the lamp, and after that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, if you wish to switch off your camera, you can. We are commencing within 5 minutes, sir. Please stay with us. Good morning, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Madam, Honorable Registrar Sir, respected dignitaries, esteemed deans, directors, HOIs, faculty members, online participants, research scholars, and my dear students. On behalf of Amity School of Languages, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this prestigious two-day international conference on negotiating cultural traditions, war narratives, and the post-truth condition. Today, we gathered to reflect upon pressing global realities, how cultural traditions are negotiated in turbulent times, how war narratives shape civilizational memory, and how truth itself is contested in the post-truth era. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to the leaders whose vision and support have made this event possible. Honorable Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan Sir, Founder President RBEF, Honorable Dr. Asim Chauhan Sir, Chairman Amity University Chhattisgarh, Honorable Dr. Silva Murthy Sir, Chancellor, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, Honorable Professor Dr. Piyush Kant Pandey Sir, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, Honorable Professor Dr. Sumita Dave Madam, Pro Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, Honorable Suresh Dhani Sir, Registrar, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, we thank them all for their unwavering support and guidance. To invoke the spirit of patriotism and unity, we shall begin with Vande Mataram, followed by the state anthem. I request everyone to kindly rise.
वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् सुजला सुफला मलयज शीतला सस्यश्यामला मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी पुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदल शोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुर भाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् बरपापैरी के धार महानदी है अपार इंद्रावती हा पखारे तोर पैया महू पाव पराओ तोर भुइया जय हो छत्तीसगढ़ मैया सो है बिंदिया सही घाटे डोंगरी पहाड़ चन्ना सूरज बने तोर नैना सुमहा धाने के संग रुगलक हरियर रंग तोर बोली जैसे सुखर मैना अचरा तोरे डोलावे पूरवैया महू पाव पराओ तोरे भुइया जय हो छत्तीसगढ़ मैया।
Thank you. Please be seated. Light symbolizes knowledge, wisdom, and the triumph of truth over ignorance. I now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Madam, respected Registrar Sir, Deans, Directors, and HOI to kindly come forward for the ceremonial lamp lighting.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवै सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदाम् जाड्यान्धकारापहा
Thank you, esteemed dignitaries. A warm and hearty welcome is the foundation of a successful event. It is our honor to invite Dr. Shubhankar Roy, sir, HY of Amity School of Languages, and the program director of this conference to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Disha. Good morning to one and all present over here. With the blessings of our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan sir, Honorable Asim Chauhan sir, Chairman, RBIEF, Honorable Chancellor Professor Dr. W. Selvamurthy, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Piyush Kant Pandey sir, Honorable PVC Professor Dr. Shumita Dave Madam, respected Registrar sir, we have been able to organize this two-day international conference on negotiating cultural traditions, war narratives, and the post-truth condition. It is both an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to this intellectually stimulating event. On behalf of the Amity School of Languages, I extend my warmest greetings to all the deans, especially our respected keynote speaker, Professor Habibul Khankar sir, directors, deans, HYs, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, dear colleagues, my dear students, and every participant who has joined this program through online to engage in a dialogue that is not only timely but profoundly necessary in our contemporary world. We live in an era marked by unprecedented connectivity and equally unprecedented fragmentation. Cultural traditions, once transmitted through stable lineages of memory and practice, now intersect with rapid technological change, global mobility, and shifting identities. In such a context, the task of negotiating tradition is no longer merely preservative. It is interpretative, critical, and creative. Traditions must be understood not as static relics of the past, but as living discourses that evolve through reinterpretation across generations. Were narratives to occupy a complex space within cultural memory. In Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, an African writer, demonstrates how tradition can both sustain and constrain a community, revealing the tension between continuity and change. In 1984, George Orwell warns us of a world in which language itself becomes an instrument of control where truth is not discovered but manufactured and memory is systematically rewritten. Of the post-truth condition, a defining feature of our age. In a world saturated with information, the distinction between fact and interpretation often dissolves into competing narratives driven by emotion, ideology, and algorithmic amplification. Language, our primary tool of meaning making, becomes both a site of resistance and a vehicle of distortion. The responsibility of scholars, educators, and students of language and literature, therefore, becomes spatially crucial to cultivate critical literacy, ethical interpretation, and a commitment. The timely intervention by delving into this topic invites us to explore the intersections of these three domains. How do cultural traditions shape the telling of wars? How do war narratives redefine cultural identities? And how does the post-truth climate transform both? Sometimes erasing nuances, sometimes weaponizing memory, and sometimes silencing marginalized voices. These questions demand interdisciplinary engagement, drawing from literature, linguistics, history, media studies, philosophy, and cultural studies. Amity School of Languages redefined the view that language education is not confined to grammar or communication alone. It is fundamentally about understanding human experience in all its diversity and complexity. Programs such as this reaffirm our commitment to fostering critical inquiry, dialogue across differences, and responsible scholarship. It also provides a platform for young minds to listen, question, and contribute to conversations that shape the intellectual and ethical contours of society. I am confident that the deliberations spanning over the next 2 days will open new perspectives, challenge established assumptions, and inspire further research. May this gathering serve not only as an academic exercise, but also as a space for empathy, reflection, and constructive engagement. I express my sincere gratitude to the conveners, distinguished speakers, and participants, and the entire team of ASL, and the paper presenters who have joined through online, whose efforts have made this event possible. Your presence through online and offline here signifies a shared commitment to meaningful discourse in an age that urgently needs it. With these words, I once again welcome you all and wish the program great success. May our discussions illuminate, provoke, and inspire. Thank you all.
Thank you for your inspiring words and for setting the tone for this academic gathering. As a symbol of growth, sustainability, and intellectual flourishing, we now welcome our special guest, Anup Kumar Tiwari sir from the National Institute of Technology, Raipur, with a sapling. May I now request sir to kindly felicitate our special guest. I now invite Professor Sumita Dave, Madam, Pro Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, to address the gathering.
It is wonderful to be a part of a university which is multidisciplinary because we get insights into so many areas. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Piyushkant Pandey, our guest this morning, Professor Tiwari from NIT, and who has joined us online, Professor Haq, Registrar, Professor Dhyani, faculty members of ALS, and all the students of Amity School of Languages. I think first I would like to congratulate all the faculty members and students who have been behind curating this wonderful subject. Because whenever we talk of wars, wars are something that have been there in history ever since mankind existed. And when we look back to history, wars were either fought for social truths or justice. There was always a positive reason apart from the desire for conquest, that is geographical expansion. But even when it was geographical expansion, in history we've studied that there's always something positive that has been the outcome, whether there is richness in culture, the culture has enriched, which we call it as enculturation, has happened. There has been contribution towards the political systems and the social systems becoming stronger and have left marks. In the modern day, when we talk of wars, we would first refer to the world wars, the First World War and the Second World War, which were primarily because of social unrests. That is, injustice done to a segment of the society. But what is the base? And wars are being fought even today. The way wars are being fought today may be different. Artillery may be used, may not be used also, which we talk of Cold Wars today, which is changing the shape of geopolitics across the world. And when we are trying to talk about the truths, as Professor Shubhankar said, it is the communication methods. Again, communication methods have existed ever since mankind is there on earth. Methods of communication have changed over time. And with technology creeping in, it has become seamless. It has become very fast. The real purpose for which a war is fought gets hidden somewhere deep within, and selfish interests of individual get highlighted. Sometimes it may be correct, sometimes it may be wrong. But more often than that, if life has become fast, if life has become technology driven, if the world has moved towards a vision or an intention of selfish conquests, where is culture? Somewhere lost deep within. Unlike what used to happen earlier post-wars, even if we talk of, the atrocities that were inflicted upon by Napoleon, if we talk of the Russian Revolution, where there is a lot of evidence in Leo Tolstoy's work. Please, I'm not a person of literature, but with the little reading habit that I have, changed the face of politics with a positive impact on the society. I'm really, truly happy on the subject that is chosen, which is of not only political interest, social interest, plus at the same time should send each one of them over here into a thinking process as to how we can reduce the negative impacts of war. So long as there is selfishness, so long there are individual objectives, wars will definitely be there. And the forms of wars can change. But we should promote that aspect of war which has a positive impact. Literature has it that wars are not always bad. Our texts, whether we talk of Ramayana, whether we talk of Mahabharata, they are all texts written about wars. Whether it was Alexander invading India or whether it was the Arabs and the Turks invading India. History is nothing but wars. But more important is the impact of war. the positive impact of war. So I think you shoulder a very big responsibility in your writings, in your creative works, when you discuss wars and promote the positivity of war rather than negativity. Maybe somewhere the people concerned might get a message that wars should be fought for good reasons and not bad. Wars should not lead to huge massacres, but the outcome should be on the basis of truth and well-being of humanity at large. Congratulations once again. I would like to thank our management, Honorable Founder President, our chairman, our chancellors, who have always promoted this kind of, thinking sessions. These are nothing but moments when all of us can debate, discuss, and understand and get deeper insights into the subject chosen. Thank you once again, one and all. Let's hope this 2-day session will be full of learning and discussion and positive outcomes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your visionary and encouraging address. It is my great honor to introduce our esteemed special guest, Dr. Anup Kumar Tiwari, sir, a distinguished academician from the National Institute of Technology, Raipur. Dr. Tiwari's areas of expertise include American literature, British literature, memory studies, Indian writing in English, and film studies. His research demonstrates remarkable interdisciplinary depth, ranging from literary semantics and modernist studies, particularly on Virginia Woolf, to cultural memory, identity, and communication studies. He has published extensively in reputed national and international journals, including Scopus indexed publications, and has contributed significantly to literary scholarship through his work on Woolf, Steinbeck, Alice Munro, and post-partition narratives. Dr. Tiwari is also the author of several books with international publishers, including works on personality studies, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and corporate skills for engineers, along with a widely used volume on technical writing and communication skills. His academic journey reflects a rare synthesis of literary scholarship and professional communication studies. We are deeply privileged to have such an accomplished scholar among us today. Sir, may I now request you to kindly address us?
Thank you very much for providing this podium. Most often the podiums are higher, suiting to Pandey Saab. I find really this is the amity of MIT University to think about us, to think about the common heights. An average people, especially from Chhattisgarh, holds a height of 5 feet 3 inches. Years back, I went to AIMS, and I was to register myself at the OPD. The height of the window was possibly decided by a Haryanvi mechanic. So it was very difficult for me. I would peep down or peep up to talk to the person there inside. When I reached inside, as doctors are accustomed to discuss about your profession, I never understand why they do that. I'm from a family of so many doctors. I never ask them what is the reason. Whenever you go to doctors, while putting their stethoscope, they ask about क्या करते हैं आप? अच्छा, कहाँ रहते हैं? I could really not understand why they asked this question. So when doctor asked me, what do you do? I said, I am teacher. अच्छा, किस स्कूल में पढ़ाते हैं? I said, I teach in NIT Raipur. अच्छा, प्रोफेसर है. Thank you. Discussion continued. पढ़ाते क्या हैं आप? I said, sir, I teach communication skills. ये क्या होता है? I teach how to communicate. अच्छा ये भी पढ़ाया जाता है, अच्छा वेरी गुड। एक्चुअली है क्या है, आई सेड आपसे नहीं आता, you don't know to communicate. Doctor was really offended. Then I said, sir, you have got a registration window that does not suit to my height. Is it communication skills? I said, yes, sir. Making a proper ambience for communication is also part of communication skills. Understanding people, developing dialogues, easing the dialogues, making that congenial atmosphere where people can easily connect to you is part of communication skills. That we call it ergonomics of communication. My scholar and professor Suparna Karkun will certainly appreciate it. I had always been focusing that we should make that atmosphere, congenial atmosphere for talking. So I'm very, very happy. The first time that I have got such a podium where I'm feeling very comfortable. You agree with me, right? So this conference, a few days back, Professor Suparna Karkun contacted me that she wanted to invite me for this special guest speaker. I was really very happy. So I wanted to think that what is special about me and what is special about this conference. And these three terms, the negotiation between war, tradition, and post-truth. Truth is important, but post-truth is more important. Our world leaders are having real estate issues. Mr. Putin is having problem of land. He's interested in some city. Mr. Trump is criminalizing a country. I think this is not broadcasted to Mr. Trump. He gets angry, right? America is accustomed of criminalizing people. When somebody was making canal to irrigate the fields of some country, he was hung. Somebody was caught with chemical weapons. After being killed, there was no chemical weapon found. Our neighborhood, the warlords are angry and they are ready to wage wars. Those are wars on political level. We are having war in intra-community situation also. People are looking for war, possibilities of war. And what this conference is about? To discuss, to disagree, to debate that whether wars are necessary and what is the aspect of war. Heroes, it introduces villains also. Heroes are their villain, their heroes are our villain. It is hero and villain fight actually. Initially, wars were politics driven. Mr. Alexander are the Turks from Middle East, invaded India for political reasons. Later on, it converted into community reasons. Some leaders felt that their belief system, their knowledge, their culture is above others. So they wanted to educate others. They came to educate us. They went other places to educate. And under the pretext of educating and developing and improvising and improving, they invaded. So the war converted into community. But now the war is more heinous, more fatal. Why? Because it is profit driven. Someone is looking for land, someone is looking for pomegranates, somebody is looking for California almonds, and somebody is looking for cotton from Bangladesh, somebody is looking for petrol, and we are looking everything. So we all are at the war position. My purpose is we need to have such conferences on regular basis where we can openly criticize some warlord who invades a country, some warlord who criminalizes a community or an entire country, or somewhere the misinterpretations, interpretation, reinterpretations of war of any type. Some years back, my daughter, when she was 4 or 5 years old, she asked me a very simple question: why do we fight? I said, uneducated people fight. And then she had a question, whether these country heads are uneducated. I come from a city which has given 2 chief of army staffs. Both come from my place, Rewa. and I introduced her. ये देखो दोनों, these both heads are from my school, my city. अच्छा, ये भी educated नहीं है. She had questioned that if we are educated, then why do we need armies? Initially, uneducated people fight, but why country heads and countries fight? I could not reply this thing. I had no question, no answers for this. I believe that the day when she rises to a height of power, when those rise to the height of control, they will certainly rethink that whether there should be war, there should be war narratives, or there should be post-truth situations. There should be no war, no glorification of crime, and certainly there should be no thing like post-truth. There should be truth only, no post-reformation. So with this only, I have prepared some shorter speech for your inauguration. I was really influenced by ma'am, so I had to share that unprofessional, ill-prepared plan of a speech. Now I have written something which may be concentrating, focusing on your area of this conference. 2 days conference it is, so we will have a good scope of discussion. I hope there are more than 100 participants, I guess. So 100 participants means 100 discussions, 100 platforms. And I wish that all of you will be writing, pondering, rethinking, reframing your present works. Here you have come here to discuss the idea. You get the queries, questions, and doubts from the audience, incorporate those things in your work, then rewrite, then publish, and then possibly you cause the possibility of another conference. So with this only, I have something written. Shall I read that? With the permission of Professor Pandey and Professor Smita Dave. I really am very happy that you gave a very robust speech. So I was wondering that years back, my professor, Dr. Shalini Dubey, I was missing her, that she will also be taking very light subject very seriously. And it is already a serious subject. You have taken it very lightly, in a very simple way. Thank you very much, ma'am. So I have taken this thing. I take the liberty of, as this assembly, we have assembled here at a time when cultural identities are being asserted with a renewed identity, renewed intensity, when war is fought not only on physical battlefield, but also on symbolic and digital terrains. And when truth itself appears to be increasingly unsettled, fragmented across the media, manipulated through rhetorics, and contested within public discourse. We think of traditions. Traditions, they are described as inherent of past. But are they so fixed? No, they aren't fixed. They are live. They are living entities. They keep on changing. They are constantly progressing. They are interpreted, they are reinterpreted, and sometimes they are contested. They should be. They should be. They can be negotiated too. Negotiation for what? From rigidity to simplicity, from sternness to possibility, from exclusion to inclusion. That is called tradition. Then we come to cultural tradition that provides a continuity in the society. They give communities a sense of belonging, moral orientation, and collective memory. Cultural traditions become sites of negotiation, particularly when confronted by modernity, globalization, migration, and technological change. Here I differ, and I would refer a case that when I observed a particular community which came after partition in India, it had been 70, 80 years, and we still address them with the local they come from. And they have agreed to accept that address because they came from Sindh. We added them Sindhis, right? So I found them traveling with a lot of luggage. When they travel with a lot of luggage. Some 10, 15 years back, I was traveling with a gentleman, highly educated appearing person. So I dared to ask him a question that why Sindhi people travel with a lot of luggage. a wonderful answer he gave, that when he was just a child, overnight, he had to leave his beloved home barehanded. So that has percolated deep down in his memory, that we may lose something. So that memory has deep seated in their mind, that whenever they travel with a lot of luggage. It was an eye-opening session for me, that I had been thinking why they carry a lot of luggage. There may be many people here belonging to that community may disagree or agree, but it gave me a sight that individual memory can impact the collective memory, and that in response in future, it may impact our societal memory. Now the word negotiation in this conference theme is particularly significant. Why? It reminds us that tradition is not only received, it is debated, and it can be debated, it is performed, it is adapted, and at many times it is questioned. Literature, folklore, performing arts, oral histories, and digital storytelling all become the areas where communities negotiate, where communities speak their issues and they negotiate. What must be preserved, what must evolve, and what must be critically re-examined. In this negotiation, we scholars have a critical role. We do not simply document traditions, we analyze their power structures, we analyze their exclusions, we analyze their silences, their roars, we analyze their possibilities for uniqueness, we ask questions. Who speaks for tradition? Whose voices are marginalized? Whose voices are focused? And how does memory shape identity of individual, then identity of a society? And now, how does culture respond when confronted by violence and ideological distortion? Then war narratives have their own place. They are always shaped by collective consciousness. Individuals cause war, the society pays for it. And then finally, they impact our collective consciousness. Be it epic poetry of Mahabharata, Ramayana, as member was referring, or nationalist historiography, as our histories are full of that, to cinema. A few days back, there's a movie, I forget the name of the movie, that has a glorified crime, and people are watching it very fondly. I haven't watched it. Somebody let me remind the movie. Based on Pakistan, Dhurandhar, yes, yeah, Dhurandhar. I don't know what is Dhurandhar about it, but it is really very uproaring that we have idealized crime and we have glorified the crime and war. War narratives define heroes and villain. War narratives justify actions. War narratives construct identities, destruct identities. They sometimes are more often sanitized. They sanitize and justify the violence. They are rarely neutral. They are always partial. They are rarely neutral. They are mediated by power. What we need to do, all deep fakes, manipulated images, algorithmic biases, nowadays we are having algorithmic biases, the closed chambers, viral malinformations, they're altered and they are dogmatized and spread among communities where war narratives are established as necessities. And they are narratives under the control of leaders. Then what is our objective? That what intersections we have? That is the post-war truth and the post-truth situation. Both are different things, post-war truth and post-truth. Post-truth means the truth reframed to defame the present truth and to converting that truth into our favor. We have traditions as memory. Our rituals, our lifestyles, our culture, everything is a response of memory. We cannot overlook, we cannot ignore, rather we have to focus on that. We must initiate, as a scholar, we must initiate a critical empathy, the ability to analyze the structure of power without losing sight of human suffering, the ability to question narratives, without dismissing lived experiences, and the ability to defend truth without becoming dogmatic. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we have to focus on post-truth conditions. The most unsettling dimension of this conference is the post-truth condition. I should say unsettling means when we are settled, there is no motion, there is no progression. Conferences unsettle things. They are iconoclast. They question established values. The most unsettling means most powerful tool of this conference is post-truth conditions. We have to focus whether those truths are under control or they are free to evolve. When the things are under control, if they are under control of the powerful people with vicious mindset against community, driven their personal profits, certainly those truths are going to be fatal for the society. So let us sit here for next 2 days, ponder, discuss, debate, agree, disagree, and come to some questions, not answers. Conferences are not for answers. They are for more questions. They should have more sequence of questions. If we really raise right questions, the society will find out the answers. So with this only, I appreciate MIT University, Chhattisgarh will certainly make wonderful this conglomeration of thoughts, conglomeration of scholars, and with the leadership of Professor Pandey, Professor Sunita Dave, and Hijab from UAE, I think online present. We'll all in this leadership, we'll all discuss, ponder, ruminate, and come to some finer questions, finer debates, and would certainly go home with some more questions, more knowledge, and more possibility of further discussion. Thank you very much for this opportunity, inviting me here. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Das. Thank you, Professor Suparna. I'm really proud to declare here that she's my scholar. And today my scholar has taught me a lesson that I should be fixed with timing. No extra classes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking address. The keynote speaker, Dr. Habib sir, has joined online with us. Thank you, sir. Now, it is my distinct honor to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Piyush Kant Pandey, sir, for the presidential address.
First of all, with our profound gratitude to our founder president, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, our chairman, Dr. Aseem Chauhan, our chancellor, Dr. W. Selvamurthy, our special guest of the today, Dr. Anup Kumar Tiwari ji, online Professor Habib from UAE, all distinguished participants, registrar also here, HOI of the ALS, Roy ji, organizing team committee members, students, and participants from various parts of the world. First of all, let me counteract Dr. Tiwari when he said that this has been designed for this podium. In fact, sometimes I take it up to make it more audible. So in fact, one person's neighbor's envy, owner's pride, I think there was an advertisement was there. Anyway, so this wonderful, first of all, let me congratulate all the organizers for this wonderful international conference on negotiating cultural traditions, war narratives, and post-truth conditions. Pretty big. I asked him what exactly is going to happen in this conference. And what I could gather is that basically you are focusing on the communication and literature. That is obviously the focus at the end of the day. And then while sitting and hearing to wonderful addresses by Tiwari ji and Dave ji, then I was thinking what I'm going to speak. Then I thought that what communication can do. That two wonderful examples. One is that recently you must have heard one professor of communication spoke to the world media on AI. And then she claimed something which was not basically made by the said university. And it became an international embarrassment. I hope you all know. So that is a wonderful example of how communication can misfire. It brought in almost such a big shame to in fact, I was reading that the students of that university are suffering from a huge problem that everybody is ridiculing them, that you should not come back with a Chinese degree. I hope you know. How many of you know? Please raise your hands. Incidents, how many of you know this incidents? Oh my goodness, a good number don't know. I can name them because it's an international thing. There was an AI summit is going on, rather a few days ago, in which the Galgotia University had put up a stall and they had shown a robot dog. And the professor of communication was in charge for communicating to the media persons. There she claimed that this robot dog has been made by Galgotia University, has been developed by Galgotia University, and it is doing a wonderful everything, that the robot dog was able to perform wonderful activities. And she claimed it very emphatically that it has been designed, developed, and manufactured by university, which was not really truth, because basically that robot dog was Chinese made, which was available at 2.5 lakh rupees. Obviously, such a thing was immediately caught, and it became a national humiliation for the country also, not only for the university. For the whole country, it became a kind of a humiliating thing, that how Indians who are claiming such a high on AI development, they are claiming a thing made by Chinese to be as their own. Well, not going to that one, but I remembered in her press conference one thing. She said that your 6 can be my 9. Your 6, number 6, can be my 9. And she tried to justify her claim, taking this particular reasoning. I don't know, Tiwari ji must be knowing it, will be able to make it understand more better to me, how the 6 can become 9 to other person. But it's an example of how communication can go wrong. On the other hand, I was also remembering Joseph Goebbels. How many of you know Joseph Goebbels? Teachers know. Anybody from students? We all talk about World War II. But World War II, we also remember the name of Hitler. But more than Hitler, I always believe it was Joseph Goebbels who made the entire nation of the Germany to unite behind a person who is half-witted person, Hitler, who was not really very intelligent, not very courageous, not very valorous, nothing. He was shot also, by the way, Tiwari ji. But he made the whole country stand so solidly behind Hitler that in fact entire Germany was ready to lay down their life just on the call of the Hitler, anything. Hitler used to say, let's say march, one day he showed his prowess of his army and his command. He asked his battalion to march over he was standing on the top of one castle where this parapet wall was not there. He asked them to march. They started to march. They reached at the end of this one. He did not stop them. They all went down one by one. Knowing very well it's very heighted building, but all went down. Why? What made them so mad? What made them so mad? Maybe this example, maybe some others also, you can say, somebody can say, maybe Napoleon also, some way the stories this type of come. But what I'm saying is that how the narratives can make the people accept the something which is not really true and then behave accordingly, that can change the course of the nation, change the history of the whole world also. And therefore, the importance of communication and whatever was written, Tiwari ji was mentioning that chemical weapons, that basically that is the Iraq, that incidences from Iraq. America declared that the Iraq is having weapons of mass destruction, WMD. And then based on that, America attacked the Iraq with the full force. Entire, this army, entire, nation of the Iraq was totally destroyed. Saddam Hussein was killed. Everything happened. But what was very surprising is that not a single trace of the weapon of mass destruction was found. I think, where is the noise? Maybe. Hello, those who are in control room, please don't talk. Right? So this is, examples. These are some of the examples that how things can go wrong. That way, in fact, if you look behind, ultimately, the colonialism, the entire colonization of the world was basically justified on this basis only, that the racially superior races, the whites, have a power to control, not only power, they have a duty to change the world and guide the people like heathen like Indians or the Africans or the rest of the world, and to control them, teach them, make them more cultural and all this one. Based on that, they controlled the whole world. Almost 2/3 of the world became in the parts of the Britain only. So these are some very important things which are happening. And those, you are obviously students of the language and arts, literature. This, in fact, I fully agree with both of my predecessors to say that wars are a part of the parcel of our history. In fact, I take you to even behind why it is so. Basically, it stems from the one very important concept you all must be knowing, that is the survival of the fittest. You must have read it in your, maybe those who are science students, you must have read it. Survival of the fittest is one of the very important principle given by Darwin. And that Darwinism basically is, in fact, is working even today. And ultimately, those who are the fittest, they survive, and the history and the literature and everything becomes modified according to those who survive. Those who are the winner, they change the whole narrative. We may read Rama killed the Ravana and the Ram Raj was established. But if you read certain other Ramayans, which are written by some South Indian, this one, you will read it otherwise. You will read it was the Ravana who was the pious king, but was a great king, and he was basically, he did, Ram tried to do all the wrong to him, and then he avenged the whole thing. And that's why they don't burn the effigy of the Ravan. So one nation and two things. Right now, such a big contrast is here. So what is right for me may not be right for you. What is right for one culture may not be right for other culture. And therefore, in fact, this is what is very important, that how to learn, how to navigate these complex things, complex issues. And therefore, the importance of this particular conference, which is there, international conference, I'm very happy that such a very important topic has been taken up by Amity School of Languages. I appreciate that your school has been always in the forefront of organizing some very important activities and important events in the past also you have done. The students also are very, I have seen you all are very, very creative also. I have seen some of your writings and poems and other things. You all are very good students are there. And I appreciate the entire this one has been created by MIT, because MIT stands for quality. In whatever our schools, our universities are there, 14 universities are right now functioning in our own country. More than 50 campuses are there worldwide. And I'm also very happy that from UAE, Professor Habib has joined. I'm looking forward to hearing more. And I feel that such type of this thing should give you a deep insight that how cross-cultural issues can be navigated, what you can learn, and how can make yourself best and leave the footprints on the sands of the time. That is what I always say, that ultimately each one of us is walking on the sands only. But it's important that each one of you should try to leave at least some footprint on the sands, though it will be obliterated after a point of time. But keep trying to do best in whatever you do. So my best wishes to the all participants, and looking forward to the more important and more good deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating and insightful message. We now move towards the official release of the conference abstract book. May I now request Dr. Debojyoti Das, sir, along with our dignitaries, to kindly proceed for the release ceremony. Please, everyone, please come up on the stage. Sir, please come up on the stage. Congratulations to the entire organizing committee and the contributors. We now proceed to the felicitation ceremony as a token of our respect and gratitude to our esteemed guest. Sir, please come up on the stage. I would like to request HY, sir, please come up on the stage. Madam, please come. It is now the most awaited segment of our conference, the keynote address. by our distinguished guest, Professor Habibur Khondkar sir from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Zayed University, Abu Dhabi. We are deeply honored to welcome Professor Habibul Haq Khondkar, an eminent sociologist of international repute and professor of sociology at Zayed University, Abu Dhabi, where he has been serving since 2006. Professor Khondkar holds his BA and MA from the University of Dhaka, Bangladesh, as MA from Carleton University, Canada, and a PhD from the University of Pittsburgh, USA. He previously taught at the National University of Singapore for 2 decades, from 1985 to 2005, contributing immensely to global sociological scholarship. He currently serves as co-chair of the Research Committee on Social Transformations and Sociology of Development of the International Sociological Association, reflecting his global academic leadership. His research spans globalization, migration, state and civil society, democracy, military in politics, and feminine studies. His work has appeared in leading international journals such as International Sociology, the British Journal of Sociology, Comparative Sociology, Current Sociology, International Migration, Globalizations, and many more. Professor Khondkar is also the co-author of Globalization East vs. West, published by Sage publication in 2010, and has co-edited several significant volumes including Asia and Europe in Globalization, 21st Century Globalizations, COVID-19 and Governance, and the Emergence of Bangladesh. His scholarship powerfully bridges continents, disciplines, and intellectual traditions, making him an ideal voice for today's theme: negotiating cultural traditions, war narratives, and the post-truth condition. Sir, we are privileged by your presence. May I now request you to kindly deliver the keynote address. Sir, please unmute.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this extremely generous introduction, which I think is largely undue. You know, I mean, I'm just one of the academics in the overseas diaspora community in Bangladesh. Now, actually, I was trying to share my PowerPoints. I prepared some PowerPoints because I thought it might be of some value. But I don't know how to. We have not been using it for a long time. Now the COVID is over. But even if I can't open it, can you hear me there? Right? So I will try to share it.
You are audible, sir. You are audible.
Yeah, but I'm trying to share my PowerPoints. If it doesn't work, then that's okay. I'll just continue with my slides here. So what I wanted to say today in my brief remarks, I start with a simple story of an op-ed I wrote more than 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. While I was in Singapore, I wrote an op-ed for a popular English daily in Bangladesh. The name of the daily is Daily Star, and the title of my op-ed was Knowledge Society, Information Society, and Gossip Society. And in that op-ed, I was trying to make a simple point that while the world is moving into what is known as knowledge society and information society, these were the slogans and these were the ideas floating around in Singapore those days. But in Bangladesh, I found that even among the seemingly educated people, they were thriving on and they're living off rumors and gossips. And there's very little respect for evidence-based knowledge. So I was arguing that some societies are moving into the domain of knowledge society and others are still living in a kind of gossip society. And that, op-ed got quite a bit of traction and people were talking about it. Now, when I was trying to recover that article, that op-ed, by going into Daily Star website, I could not access that archive. And I was wondering, Daily Star had an excellent archive. Why can't I access that article in the archive? And suddenly it dawned onto me that in recent months, as of December, sometime middle of December, following the death of one of the student leaders, a rowdy mob attacked the Daily Star alongside another popular Bengali newspaper called Pratham Alo, and they set the newspaper office on fire, claiming that Daily Star is a pro-Indian newspaper. And Bangladesh at that time was going through a hysteria of anti-Indianism fed by fake news and post-truth. Now, Daily Star, to my surprise and the irony of all it, was tagged as pro-Pakistani during the Awami League regime, and officials of the regime were not even allowed to read the Daily Star. So you can see that what is truth and what is not truth depends on where you stand. So it has become a perspective. So that is the challenge that we are dealing with. So that my talk is called Understanding Post-Truth through the lens of sociology. So I start with that story, so I call it prologue, and flashback Daily Star, my op-ed. I could only see the title of the op-ed, but not the content. And then I realized that the newspaper office was attacked and burned down, and with that, the archives were destroyed. So this actually is a good entry point to talk about post-truth. Now, if we try to conceptualize post-truth, we need to talk about populism and moral certainty. Post-truth politics thrives on moral binaries, the pure people versus the corrupt elite. The elite in this case was the Daily Star, the newspaper of the elite. The pure people, in truth, were made up of thugs who were thuggish enough to set fire on a newspaper office with more than 24 journalists at work inside the building. The truth is that Daily Star has been a voice of independent journalism, often being criticized as pro-Indian or pro-Pakistani, depending on who was criticizing. Now, all this fits into this idea that many scholars, especially psychologists, have alerted us. And this is the idea of confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias sustains this divide by filtering reality. Post-truth is rejection of facts in favor of confirmation bias. By confirmation bias, we mean a position that one takes on the basis of one's pre-existing bias, who only accepts the information even if it is composed of lies, half-truth, unverified facts that confirm the pre-existing biases one holds on to, which are products of a highly partisan political climate fed by cynicism. Here, pre-existing so post-truth is actually can be seen as a substitute for confirmation bias. It originates from confirmation bias. Here, pre-existing unverified beliefs override evidence, sound bites and systematic, endless propaganda drown requirement of proof, making truth optional, and truth claims redundant. Origin of post-truth. In 2016, the Oxford English Dictionary's word of the year was post-truth, which Oxford English Dictionary defined as relating to or denoting circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion when appeals to emotion and personal belief. A sociology of knowledge exercise will reveal that in 2016, two major political events happened. One, Brexit referendum, through which Britain got out of European Union, and two, the US presidential elections. Post-truth played a central role, a pivotal role in both reflecting how language mirrored social reality. Short and long history of post-truth. Short history of post-truth is something that I would like to base my discussion on. Long history of post-truth will take us to the world of propaganda, the spread of systematic misinformation and disinformation, which began centuries ago. And I was quite intrigued and delighted to see that some of the honorable speakers actually referred to George Orwell's 1984 and Iraq War and so on. So those issues, those topics have been ably covered. I then focus on post-truth. Post-truth is a cultural condition where truth and truth values are relativized, rendering truth as a choice, a preference among several preferences, without any consequences. I try to dwell on the causes of the rise of this cultural climate. Context and the causes. A new public culture has emerged. And this new culture has emerged due to the expansion of internet-mediated social media. Means of communication reaches all sections of the people in society, from barely educated to highly educated. Domination of means of communication over the truth value of the contents has become the order of the day. Rise of influencers as the new authority on information and knowledge in the cyberspace is something that we see every day. And what they do, they create echo chambers, strengthening confirmation bias. Rise of populism, majoritarian versus democracy. Undermining of democracy with the rise of populism is a fact today. People mistake majoritarianism as democracy. Rise of partisanism and extreme polarization destroy democracy. Extremist views feed populism, which undermines rationalist discourse. And democratic space is shrinking all over the world. Too much social media generated contents help depoliticization, where emotions trumps rationality. And much of this, or some of these problems, can be rooted in a misunderstanding of Popperian idea. Karl Popper argued that scientific or science can only be proven by its fallibility or falsification principle. His famous falsification principle was misunderstood and misconstrued as science cannot be true. And that's a misunderstanding of Popper. What he was suggesting that we should never give up on failing. And, scientific hypotheses are meant to be failed over a period of time. Not that science is not true, but this is a philosophical argument that many people misunderstood. They thought falsification principle was an excuse or an idea that suggests science is unable to reach truth. Whereas it's a subtle philosophical point that presents science as an ongoing endeavor, ongoing process where questions remain more important than answers. And the answers are often provisional until they're overruled by the next generation of scientific knowledge. Now, post-truth and epistemic pluralism. There's a difference between truth with a big T and truth with a small t. This discussion emerged in the 1980s, and since then, and especially in the last decade of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century, we see this discussion of multiple epistemic communities, and that is a problem from my point of view. The problem originated with a genuine concern where logical positivism was dominant. Now, attack on logical positivism and scientism metamorphosed into an attack on science itself. Relativization of science, Western science versus local indigenous science, became part of the discourse at the time. And they forgot that 2,500 years ago, Greek philosopher Heraclitus reminded us that fire burns in Hellas, which is Greece, as in Persia, which is Iran. So there's certain universality in science that was questioned. And I'm old-fashioned enough to hold on to some of those universal points of science. Now, post-truth can also be seen as a child of postmodernism. I don't want to go too much into this, but postmodernism challenged certain obvious sociological truths. Now, that's an interesting idea that you have to problematize truth claims, but that does not mean that you have to deny certain universal principles, certain universal ideas as if they're part of some conspiracy. So I can go into that, but I have also to focus on the time constraint. So the questioning of truth claims is different from the very possibility of unearthing truth by removing falsehood, pseudo-truth, and forces suppressing truth. What we have created today, as some writers call platform economy, and I would call it platform culture. Digital platforms intensify the shift towards post-truth culture. Algorithmic logics reward engagement, outrage, and emotional polarization and create bubbles. Verification, common sense, and reasoning are often absent. This dynamic reflects that information abundance without epistemic discipline does not produce knowledge. Donald Trump's Truth Social, launched on 21st February 2022 as an alternative to Twitter and X, is a case study of irony. This platform was created when Donald Trump was excluded from Twitter and Facebook because of his false claims that he made regarding 6th of January incident of attacking the US Congress. But this platform, Truth Social, has become a truth by and for the conservatives only. Populism and politics of post-truth. Populism adores affective truth, truth that is emotionally comforting, and emotion takes the place of reason in this context. Populism flourishes in post-truth environments because it operates through moral simplification. Political reality is framed as a struggle between the people and the elites, with expertise recoded as manipulation rather than insight. Population rhetoric prioritizes emotional authenticity over factual accuracy, presenting transgressive speech and outrageous claims as evidence of validity. Consequences of post-truth culture, a threat to democracy which thrives on reasoned conversation. So I look at democracy as a platform, as an arena of reasoned conversation. The basis of reasoned conversation is faith in reason. Democratic deliberations weakens since shared factual baselines disappear. Expert authority erodes, replaced by influencers and outrageous entrepreneurs. And this leads to all kinds of claims like revival of flat earth theory and so on. In real life, we have serious consequences like denial of climate change and global warming. America's unsigning of Kyoto Protocol and its non-participation in Paris Climate Accord are examples. And the whole discourse is dominated by conspiracy theories. A call for post-truth culture and a search for justice. A call for post-truth culture. Truth is the most important path for justice. A society without justice is anarchy. Embracing a post-truth culture is an ominous sign. Since the dawn of human civilization, the search for justice has never ended. Search for justice and truth go hand in hand. A common humanity is dependent on a common conception of truth based on science, rationality, and reasonableness. And I argue at the end that there is bad hierarchy and good hierarchy. Sociology always attacked bad hierarchy, such as between privileged slave owners versus slaves, lords versus serfs, seeking an end to unjust hierarchy. But some hierarchy is desirable, such as the hierarchy between scientifically validated knowledge and half-baked pseudoscientific knowledge. In a social world, hierarchy can be cruel and must be questioned, criticized, and removed. In the world of science and knowledge, hierarchy is necessary and useful for the greater good of humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your illuminating lecture and for enriching this conference with your global perspective. Gratitude is the memory of the heart. I now invite Dr. Suparna Karkun, Madam, to deliver the vote of thanks.
With the blessings of Honorable Founder President, sir, Honorable Chairman, sir, Honorable Chancellor, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished Speaker for the day, respected Pro Vice Chancellor, Madam, esteemed dignitaries, dear faculty members, delegates, research scholars, and my dear students. On behalf of Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, it is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks for the inaugural ceremony for the International Conference on Negotiating Cultural Traditions, War Narratives, and the Post-Truth Condition. At the outset, I express my sincere gratitude to our respected dignitaries for graciously sparing their valuable time and blessing this conference. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Piyush Kant Pandey, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, for his visionary leadership, unwavering support, and continuous guidance. My heartfelt gratitude to Professor Habibul Konkar, Professor Zayed University, Abu Dhabi, our keynote speaker, for joining this inaugural session. My sincere thanks to Dr. Anup Kumar Tiwari, Associate Professor, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, NIT Raipur, for his insightful address emphasizing the need for cultural traditions in contemporary times. I also extend my respectful thanks to Professor Sumita Dave Ma'am, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, AUC, for a motivating address and continuous academic guidance. I'm grateful to Dr. Shubhankar Roy, HOI in charge, Amity School of Languages, for delivering the welcome address and for his leadership and unwavering support in organizing this prestigious international conference. I thankfully acknowledge the effort of the organizing committee and all faculty members and students involved in the volunteering. I would like to place on record our sincere thanks to IT department for the excellent technical support. I also extend our heartfelt appreciation to the administrative department and supporting staff for their dedicated efforts in logistics, hospitality, and overall coordination, ensuring the successful execution of this event. My special thanks to the ASCO department for their professional media support and documentation of this conference. I take this opportunity to thank all session chairs, speakers, volunteers, and student coordinators for their meticulous planning, tireless effort, and commitment to excellence. We are grateful to all delegates, academicians, researchers, and participants from across the country for their active participation and valuable contribution to this conference. With these words, I once again thank everyone who has directly or indirectly contributed to the success of today's inaugural session and wish all participants a highly enriching and productive conference. Thank you, one and all.
I now request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. With this, we conclude the inaugural session of our international conference. Let this conference inspire meaningful dialogue, critical inquiry, and scholarly collaboration. Thank you all for your gracious presence. We will proceed for lunch now. After lunch, there will be parallel online sessions to be conducted from 2 to 4:30. Thank you.